You are watching Travel World Online.
नमस्कार, वेलकम टू सारे जहां से अच्छा. I am your host Rajan Saigal. सारे जहां से अच्छा is an attempt to get you closer to your country, अपना देश, अपना भारत. Through this show, friends, we would like to show you some great places, some unique stay and some unique cultures of India. I'm sure, friends, you are all eager to step out and go for holidays. And I can assure you, after seeing this show, you will be able to organize your holidays more effectively once you see the passion of our presenters have. Today I am going to show you a very unique place which is need of the hour, the Karma Lakelands. And to present this destination, I would like to invite Mr. Ashwini Khurana, the president of Karma Lakelands. Mr. Khurana's passion for responsible living is what we are going to show you today. Mr. Khurana, always busy with nature, he respects nature, he is busy with his day-to-day business, and he is an avid golfer. And on top of that, he plays golf once a day at least. So let me introduce Mr. Ashwini Khurana.
Namaskar. I am Ashwini Khurana, currently the president of Karma Lakelands. We are a very unique eco-responsible practices theme community of luxury villas. We are a mix of hospitality and real estate. There are homes around a 9-hole award-winning golf course, and eco-friendliness and practices is like our main religion out here. Rajan has asked me to talk about the beginnings of Karma Lakelands and how I got into starting to do this when I was just 29 years of age. The land acquisition of what is now a 300-acre resort started to happen. So the story goes like this. When I was young in school, my dad's business was lotteries. And this was kind of a taboo kind of a business. And school teachers picked on me, called me, hey, raffle man. And the peer group got an idea of amusement and nitpicking upon the lottery business. So what I realize now is the kind of abuse for the lottery business that my family was in could have made me anti the lottery business, but it just did the opposite. I became stubborn. I grew up with a firm resolve to sell lotteries when I grew up. I didn't have any great plans other than getting to sell lotteries as I grew up. Finally, the 21-year-old young man, when he gets his first opportunity to decide, make his life choices, lottery was for sure very clear in my mind. And I was surprised when I looked back 8 years later. I was the country's highest income taxpayer. I was by now selling 50 million lottery tickets a day. And but the interesting thing is, it's round about the time where this unexpected, mind-blowing influx of money that came to me that could have hit my head, ego issues were a great possibility. At that very time, I came across this gentleman, Lakeland Saini, the creator of the Rock Garden in Chandigarh. Now, Lakeland gradually started to impress me with his recycling of things of waste, turning them into things of beauty, aesthetics. So one thing I learned was you can create aesthetics with something of zero value. The next thing that I picked up was respect for the earth's resources, the greenery around us. We have only one planet. The trees are a half my lung. What I breathe, they out, they inhale, and what I breathe in is their exhalation. So these were things I started to pick up with Lakeland. And he was a man, a very modest man, but eventually that influence of the various eco stuff that he used to talk about turned me into an environmentalist with an initial aim of growing 100,000 trees. And this happened in 87. In 1987, Lakeland's influence caused me to decide 100,000 tree plantation target in the next 10 years. And I kind of coined a guiding principle, a phrase: greening, like charity, begins at home but should not end there. So my home driveway, I started puncturing holes on the sides to plant saplings, which became trees. The public park outside the home was a brown patch of earth, became a paradise over the next few years. And I realized a few years down the line that 10,000 trees a year planting was, and because I was in the media, newspapers, television, everybody talked about this very young man, very strange business, has beaten Mr. Ambani and the Tatas and Birlas in paying personal high taxes. And so a lot of people came soliciting for contributions. Example, college festival, temple, local police station. You know, colleges, college festival, can you, sir, sponsor our festival? After initially funding as and when whatever I could, I realized my deeper calling at that time was growing trees. And I was running behind schedule of 10,000 trees to be planted in a year. Now, this was not a forest department of the government target that you plant and forget. These saplings were supposed to become trees. And my number count was only for those that survived. So, a few years down, 4 years to be precise, instead of 40,000, the number is 28,000. So, what to do? I started buying rural and suburban real estate, farmlands in Vasant Kunj, which was 25 minutes out of the city center where I lived in Golf Links, Delhi. Then turned this into a mini forest from a brick kiln that this place used to be, which is now my home come head office. And eventually started buying lands in the boondocks. Now again, at this young age, you want the whole world to recognize you. So you have choices. You have the money already. So whether you buy a large a building, a commercial tower in downtown and make a statement, or buy lands in the boondocks where nobody is going to say, wow, what a lovely achievement is made. So I took the latter choice because 10,000 trees a year was my focus, like, Arjuna's mythological looking at the pigeon's eye. And eventually, today, that land acquisition with the pursuit of growing trees that happened is Karma Lakelands. Now, the journey to get here goes like this. I have the land, I put a boundary fence and start planting lots and lots of trees all over till I learn one day the government of Haryana is going to acquire this land at some point because the IMT Manesar, the Model Industrial Township, is happening. The government's lust for more and more land for development and growth is insatiable. My land and trees are not considered growth. So they're going to take it over. So I made some investigations through my contacts, and I realized if I get a low density development approval like a golf resort, I can keep the government acquisition plans at bay. And so that's exactly what I did. And then I relaxed for a while till I realized that this approval of a golf resort, purely on paper, not implemented, is not going to take me too far. They're going to come back and say, your approval is cancelled, you've done nothing on it. So eventually, I brought in the planners from all over the world, people who would plan resorts, master planning, golf course, mixed use developments, and a person from Australia, another one from UK, and the best from the world was actually brought in, and we realized we'll be eventually a mixed use product, but the core thing that would string us various elements of the place together would be responsible practices. And, uh, and that's exactly what got implemented just to keep the government acquisition plans at bay. So the Karma Lakeland story, I would repeat, is literally the story of the cart before the horse. This is not the way most people do businesses in this world. I want to sell lotteries because that gets me abuse in school, that gets me ridicule. And I hold on to it till I become not only the so called lottery king of India, but the country's highest taxpayer. Then I buy land to grow trees. To grow trees and hold on to the land, I have to get a resort approved, otherwise, the government will take over. So that's the motivation to get the resort approval. Eventually, that gets implemented. Today, we are rated as the most eco-friendly golf course in India. In fact, the reason we got recognized as the most eco-responsible golf course is our friend Rajan only. In one golf industry forum, Rajan is given the mic, so he's on the stage, I'm in the front row, and he looks at me and suddenly he says, in front of us is Ashwini Khurana of Karma Lakelands, the most eco-friendly golf course. Well, we were eco-friendly, but we never claimed that we were the most eco-friendly golf course. Now, Golf Digest, other industry people took serious note of what Rajan had said, and in one of their annual golf industry events, the committee decided to do a bit of a rating on which golf course is doing the best of practices, and we really got awarded. So, thanks to Rajan, I, I acknowledge that this award to Karma Lakelands came purely because of your pointing it out to them, and no other reason. So, after having said that, Karma Lakelands is a unique cart before the horse success story. Now, success. Success, for sure, in my life has not been because of the pursuit of return on investment. If you look at Karma Lakelands, look at our villas on offer. The value that we derive from these villas does not even justify the current value of land acquisition that if it was being done today. But then the joy, the satisfaction, and most importantly, the sustainability that we've achieved. I always tell my team, as long as you people make sure that I can pay my bills, do not forget our core value, our religion, green practices. Examples. You come to Karma Lakeland's gate as a visitor. If you honk, the guard does not smile at you, he jeers at you. He takes longer to open the gate. Why? Because the instructions are that he is going to respond to sight, not sound. Honking is a huge taboo at Karma Lakelands. And even inside our 7 kilometers internal roads, if you honk, suppose there's a gardener walking by, a lady gardener I saw the other day, she flagged down her car. and then folds her hands and says, "यहाँ पे on bajana mana hai, shayad aap bhool gaye." So these are beautiful, unique, everyday things. When we opened our golf rounds, the golf as a commercial activity to happen, the first big debate with the team was that we want to declare the entire golf course as a non-smoking zone. We will give just in this 70 acres of land 2 smoking spots. If anybody insists on smoking as he walks down the fairways of the golf course, he'll be reminded once. If he refuses to accept our covenants, our rules, our guidelines that we are non-smoking, we would turn these people out of the golf course without refund of green fee. Now, every golf scorecard of Karma Lakelands has it clearly written. We're quite rude about it. But interesting thing is, in the very beginning when this was rolled out, my friend Brandon D'Souza, who was the golf operations man who held our hand and launched us in the industry for the first time, he said, look, you wouldn't get golf tournaments. Golfers would not come to play golf because compared to any other sport, a lot of golfers would smoke a cigar perhaps, or at least a cigarette while they're golfing. They don't need to be athletically well built. In fact, people of all sizes and shapes can play great golf. Bad habits, smokers, no problem. Weak lungs, no problem. They can play great golf. And you're not supposed to be the moral police. And this is outdoors where you're not going to allow them to not smoke. But then my saying was, if I'm going to lose smokers as a source of my business today, in the long run, I would strive for every, let's say, 4 smoking golfer clients lost, maybe 10, maybe 20 people coming to Karma Lakelands for the same reason that the smokers were driven away from. But just look at the cosmos, our karma, rewarding us.
Name Karma Lakelands comes into picture, or how do you thought of this name?
A good question. Karma was, it's a name from the Northeast, Sikkim, where I did the lottery business. My major lottery business was in Sikkim. And karma is a very common name out there for people, but there's a concept of karma which you and I know well about. And so I picked it up from there. Because I tell you one thing, when I did the lottery business, there were 2 kinds of lotteries: hardcore gambling lotteries and recreational tombola mindset of the player kind of lotteries. Nobody knew the lottery business better than me when the hardcore gambling kinds entered the arena. I could have multiplied the money I was making 3 times over. But I sat back and said, no, the hardcore gambling lotteries are ruinous. They're addictive. The players will not come just for good fun like you do in a game of tombola. And so karma kept driving me a lot. I'll share with you this one unique thing that we did in the lottery business. We called it social advertising. There was a time, 1990 to be precise, I was selling 2 crore lottery tickets a week. And at that time, I interacted with an international lottery company, looking at what we were doing, what they were doing, how could we have exchange of ideas, work together perhaps. So somebody on the table in this conference room suggested, why don't you use the backside of the lottery ticket for for commercial advertising? And, you could make some extra money from it. Sure enough, the idea was great. We hired a marketing MBA to sell this ad space on the back of lottery tickets. And Linta's Advertising, the country's top ad agency at that time, Alec Padamsi, the big chief, personally invited me for a conference with him in Mumbai. And they said, Linta's Advertising wants to be the sole concessionaires for this ad product of yours. we were delighted to sign. And for a trial run, the company they proposed for us to advertise was Red and White cigarettes. And 1990, 3 months prior to this proposal, I have just declared all my offices, homes, family are completely going to be non-smoking zones. At that time, it was not at all a fashion or a law that public places cannot be prohibited from smoking. So, few months before, Red and White cigarette with millions of dollars of ad revenue potential to me comes on the table, and I have put in like 6 months of hard work getting here, and I just told them that I need a day to reflect. So this one day I went into reflection whether I'm going to do Red and White cigarette advertising on the back of my lottery tickets or no. I came back with a clear head and a concept realization that I'm selling this ad space not for my bread and butter, but for my honey and jam. I'm selling 2 crore lottery tickets a week. I'm doing far more than bread and butter. And for just extra money, am I going to violate my own irritation, to put it mildly, against cigarettes and smoking? So not only did I turn back Lintas, I refused to do business with them because I now realized, because cigarettes, for example, were not allowed to advertise the conventional way, my product was unconventional with a deep penetration, and they thought we were made for each other. But that was their thought, not mine. And I turned it away. Now, when I turned it away, I declared to my team that we are going to use the back of our lottery tickets for social advertising instead. So we started doing social advertising like anti-smoking, grow more trees. Because of social advertising, which only government media does, mine was the only lottery in the country which was considered more government than the actual government lotteries. In terms of enterprise, we were great. In these 3 years, we moved from selling 2 crore lottery tickets a week to selling 5 crore lottery tickets a day. And this was no business strategy. This was karma.
Sure.
And that's how you get down to karma. And while Lakelands, my Aussie director, Phil Ryan, who designed the golf course, he says, Delhi is a dry place. Lakes and lands combined is a very Aussie Lakelands word. Let's put karma and Lakelands together and roll it out. And that's how we are Karma Lakelands today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now we are going to introduce Mr. Daman, who is the general manager of this beautiful property. He will be taking us on a tour of Karma Lakelands. Over to you, Mr. Daman.
So namaskar everyone. So my name is Daman Deep Singh, and I am the general manager for Karma Lakelands. I currently head the operation for golf, for the club, for the entire state at the Karma Lakelands. So we are basically a golf resort, a club, and a luxury residences which is situated just about 35 minutes drive from the international airport, and it takes about close to about 50-55 minutes from the city center to reach us. So also, so we are, as our president, Mr. Khurana, rightly mentioned, we are a very, very eco-sensitive and a resort which takes our eco initiatives extremely seriously. It's not just something that we talk about; it's something that we follow in our daily life. So, as a hospitality product, we have a boutique, 9 holes boutique golf course. We have a very nice club which offers era of food and beverage outlets, from a all-day dining restaurant to a very nice lounge bar with a nice view of the golf course, an open-air restaurant which called Pizza Bay, which offers pizzas and grills in the evening with a nice view. So these are something that we cater to corporate events. We cater to luxury destination weddings, which are bespoke weddings created for really special events. We've got extremely great event venues. We've got a ballroom. We've got conference rooms. So we are also one of the important venues for all corporate conferences. Uh, you know, company off-sites where company corporates come and they just have a relaxed day at our site, enjoying our food and beverages, enjoying our view, enjoying our greenery. Um,
I believe you have beautiful chalets, you have beautiful villas with two, three, four bedrooms. Can you tell us about these?
as far as our accommodation is concerned, we offer luxury villas suited for the most idealistic green luxury spaces that you want to live in. Our villas comes into a category of 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom category, fully furnished villas. They are basically either for a short stay or for a long stay vacations. We also started recently. We introduced our luxury premium tents, which are basically nice big 350 square feet of room situated in a style of a tent with all modern facilities on offering. So it gives an extreme great experience to a guest when they come and stay experience our hospitality product, along with when they look at the kind of initiative that we take. So the overall the vision of the place is that we believe in responsible luxury. We do not all our restaurants offer water in a glass bottle. We do not offer plastic. We do not offer plastic straws. Something that we preach in every day as our vision to follow the responsible luxury. Something so in terms of recreation at Karma Lakelands, guests have a lot to do in terms of what they feel is the right way of getting away from city, and trying to unwind themselves. We've got for children, we are a great place. We've got a great children play area. We've got indoor and outdoor gym. We've got a farm animal where children can go and explore and look at the way a farm life is being lived. We do a bee farming. That's something which every guest should experience in once in a lifetime. How bee farming is done. We've got a nature trail walk where you can do bird watching. We've got a host of outdoor activities to offer to our corporate clientele, to our daily stay vacation guests. So overall, over and all, Kama Lakelands is basically a place where you would definitely love to showcase and spend a weekend, not going completely out of the city, not driving too far. We're just about a half an hour, 1 hour drive from the main city center. So it's a place where guests would definitely feel that it's a place where in a short distance, and especially in today's time where half of the population, half the country is in a lockdown, and as we unlock ourselves, this is the ideal place where you would want to spend your weekend to unwind yourself and to rejuvenate yourself.
Tell me something about the cuisine, the dining places in your property.
We have got four restaurants in Karma Lakelands. One is called On Course, which is basically an all-day dining restaurant. It is the theme of the restaurant is it's called Organically Yours. It is basically our 70% of our menu is inspired by the homegrown organic vegetables from a farm. So if you really want to have organic food, that is the place to be. Then we have got a bar called AK's Bar, which is on the first floor. It gives a great view of the golf course. We've got an open air restaurant called Pizza Bay. It basically serves pizza and grills, and it's open in the evenings. So that's again a very open air kind of place where you want to experience fresh air, nice views. That is a place to be. And we've got a cafe called Under the Neem, which is again an all-day dining cafe where we have an outdoor seating as well as an indoor seating. Uh, so overall, I think that is something which we have an era of food and beverage. Plus, we do private dining also. So we've got a private dining area which has a great view of of our lake and a golf course. So if somebody wants to do a private, celebration, maybe an anniversary dinner, we've got a great place to do a private dining as well.
Something about recently held the International Vintage Car Show at your destination?
So we did a event which is part of our basically we specialize in doing big events, which is basically bespoke destination weddings as well as corporate and MICE events. We did a great event called Vintage Car Rally, which was basically done by a company called 21 Gun Salute. It's a yearly event which happens. All the vintage cars from around the world participate in it. It starts from India Gate, or the rally starts from India Gate, and it reached Gurgaon, which is our venue, and then it went ahead. So it was a 3 days event where the most expensive and exclusive vintage cars from the Maharajas of India actually participated. There were 125 cars which were actually parked in the golf course, plus 75 vintage bikes which were also participating in that. So we had a who's who of the nations, right from the Maharaja of Jodhpur to the Mr. Singhania, who also owns a collection of vintage cars. So we were actually hosting them for 3 days at the venue being our golf course.
So when it comes to mice, what kind of mass facilities you have, and what sizes you can cater to?
So we have, of course, in terms of our normal ballroom, we've got a ballroom which is about 3,500 square feet. Plus, we've got for small conferences and meetings, we've got conference rooms. We've got 2 conference rooms. We've also got a private lounge which is called the Kaizen Lounge. It's basically for our members. But since Karma Lakelands is basically a place where you want to unwind yourself and you want to be into the open greens. We've got a poolside area. We've got a great big lawn. We've got an obstacle course where people can do activities, obstacle activities. For corporates, we've got lawns where they can do team building activities. So we do, corporates comes to us for a day activity, for their team building activities, for an offsites. So we've got great places. So we have a capacity to host events from 10 people to goes up to about 500 to 600 people.
Wow, that's great to see your entire place. I think we'll be ready to come and join and stay at your wonderful place, so we get some fresh air, which is we need it badly. To make this episode or to make this show more effectively, we need your suggestions and valuable inputs. If you can send us a mail on info@passionals.in. We'll see you next week, Friday, same time, same day. Till then, stay safe, stay blessed. God bless all. Thank you.
You are watching Travel World Online.